What up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish, and today we got our final announcement for Halloween Horror Nights 2022. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, with 17 days to go until the gates of Halloween Horror Nights 31 opens, we got our big, mega, final announcement. Am I excited? Yeah, I feel like we've all been waiting for this, so let's run through this because we have a lot of information to go through. So today we will be talking about 6 terrifying haunted houses, 5 sinister scare zones, and 2 outrageous live shows. Before we go further into detail, if you're new here, this is Nerd Squish, where we take everything spooky and we take everything nerdy and we squish it all together. So if you're into Halloween Horror Nights, pop culture, and all things spooky, definitely hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos from us in the future. So with the mega announcement that was dropped today, we got another trailer, which we see some familiar faces and some not so much. So let's go over that real quick before we get into details. This trailer starts off with a view from Halloween Horror Nights from above, and it's spooky and it's beautiful and we're loving it. And then we zoom in to see none other than our Scream Squad with a few familiar faces. So right off the bat, you recognize the Snacker, the Skeptic, and the Selfie Queen. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen either of these other 2 random people in any of our trailers. Now I did have suspicions at first that the guy may be Brock from the Blumhouse trailer, the guy that the cringe couple was on the phone with, who coincidentally, you don't see the cringe couple, so I guess they done got grabbed. So I don't know, maybe this is Brock, not really sure. But one by one, they're all kind of revealing how they feel about Halloween Horror Nights. You know, some of them are very scared, some are excited to see the monsters, and obviously we've got the ones that don't believe that any of this is real, so what is there really to be scared about? So then we break it down individually with each character. Of course, we have the Snacker, who, after bumping into the Selfie Queen and having a blatant disrespect of pizza fries. Let's pause. Let's have a moment of silence for that beautiful, delicious pan of pizza fries that was just thrown on the ground. Oh God, I can't wait to eat some. Anyway, so rolling right along, he gets attacked by what you can hear some monster growls. Is it the mummy? Is it the Wolfman? We don't know. Then we see the Skeptic walking around and she's like, you're not real, you're not real, you're not scary, doing all this, and then all of a sudden she bumps into none other than Michael Myers, who seems all of a sudden very real to her. Now, the Selfie Queen, we literally get the same exact footage that we got in the trailer for the Weekend House, so there's really nothing new to see there. Now, our new random girl clearly meets some scarecrows, which I'm guessing we're seeing from one of the scare zones that we'll talk about later in this video. And our new random dude meets some type of Grim Reaper soul sucker situation. He's a goner. He's a goner. He's not gonna make it. So overall, I thought this trailer was kind of fun. It definitely gives you those Horror Nights vibes. It's what a night at Horror Nights is like, you know, maybe without the actual death. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into these 6 original haunted houses. First up, we have Spirits of the Coven. A coven of beautiful flapper witches will lure you into their 1920s speakeasy, reveal their haggish true form, and turn your Scream Squad into a witch's brew. They'll be cackling, you'll be screaming. Loving this, loving this. I am a huge fan of the 1920s flapper time. I just think everything about it, the music, the clothes, all of it is so, so cool. So I'm hoping in this house we get a lot of jazz, big band, ragtime type music that takes you through this house, because I'm gonna be just, you know, doing is it the Charleston? Is that a 20s dance? Let's go with it. This has the potential to be one of our best original houses, because flapper witches, what's not to love there? Okay. The next house is bugs. It's bugs eaten alive. I know this house was rumored, and it seemed pretty sure, but in the back of my mind, because I hate bugs, I'm terrified of bugs, I was like, maybe it won't happen. Maybe there's some chance this will get pulled, something else. No, we're getting a bug house. Let me try to describe this house to you without throwing up. While touring a 1950s home of the future, you'll be surrounded by the slime of bugs everywhere as hordes of many-legged terrors descend upon you and your Scream Squad. You'll be dropping like flies. I am not okay. I hate bugs. Literally, I have been specifically in a fight with wolf spiders in my house for the past week. Life's not good right now. It's not good. I am not excited about this house. I do love the fact that you're going to a specific era, that we're in the 1950s. So that's kind of fun. Until the spiders show up. The next house we have is Fiesta De Chupacabras. Visit a Latin American village where the legend of the creatures Chupacabras is celebrated with a fiesta. And the streets are lined with the crimson blood of tourists like you and your amigos. I am loving this because I love urban legends, I love the Chupacabra, and I love that not only are we getting this house, but also pictures and videos that I've seen of the parks. You see a lot of this Dia de los Muertos, like they have a booth, which I guess they're selling drinks or food. And we've also seen some t-shirts that have, sugar skull makeup and things like that. So very, very excited about this house. I think this is gonna be a cool one. Next up, we have Hellblock Horror. Enter a prison whose savage inmates are monstrous creatures. If they break free from their cells, it's a death sentence for everyone. I am loving the idea of this house. Now, obviously, that's a very vague description. Monsters could be literally anything. But I'm thinking like classic monsters. We're gonna see werewolves, vampires, all kinds of cool, creepy things, and they're gonna be fighting each other, trying to get you. Almost makes me think of that scene in Cabin in the Woods where like all the creatures in the facility break loose and it's just havoc. Loving that. Next house is Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Lake. In a New England fishing village, undead fishermen emerge from the waves to seek their revenge. You and your Scream Squad may have escaped their hooks in the scare zone. Now they'll reel you in and drag you under. I am loving this. I love a creepy, like, sea, ocean situation. So they had the Dead Man's Wharf scare zone, and then it was featured last year in Eddie's Revenge. And I just love the idea of this like sea dude, and he's in his little yellow coat, and he's got like barnacles and starfish and hooks, and it's a good vibe. Who doesn't love that? And our last original house is Descendants of Destruction. Careful not to leave any of your Scream Squad behind as you descend the subway tunnels of a deserted New York. Lurking in the dark are hungry mutants, looking to feast on the last remnants of humanity. This is pretty cool. I feel this. This is kind of different. I love the idea of walking around a deserted subway because I really feel like Horror Nights and their sets will really shine. Like you'll really feel like you're in a deserted subway. Not that I've ever been in a subway, so it could look terrible. I'll be like, oh God, wow, this looks really, really real. But I love it because it's not connected. I know it won't be connected, but this makes me think of The Weeknd and his After Hours interlude music video where he leaves Jimmy Kimmel and he's walking in the subway and some creature just grabs him, and then the next video he's a serial killer. So like, is The Weeknd gonna be connected? Is he a descendant of destruction? Maybe. So I'd have to say out of all of these houses, the one that I'm most excited about out of the originals is Spirits of the Coven, because I love a good witchy theme, but then the fact that it's 1920s flappers speakeasy witches, it's great. Moving right along, let's get into our scare zones, which before we even had official announcements on what they were gonna be, I've been seeing the props, I've been getting excited, so let's get into it. Our very first scare zone that will be located in Production Central right when you enter the park is Horrors of Halloween. The Pumpkin Lord, the spirit of Halloween, has taken over this year's event, summoning hordes of fiendish creatures. Terror has taken root. I am stoked for this because who doesn't love the Pumpkin Lord? So if you're not familiar, the Pumpkin Lord stems from last year's haunted house, Wicked Growth. From what you can see in this scare zone already that's set up, they have these big, what do you call these? Trusses? Trellises? I don't know. But it's got a lot of lights. But a lot of the pumpkins that were featured in Central Park's past scare zones, as well as Wicked Growth's haunted house last year, seem to be up on these things. But I think the scare zone is just gonna have all those familiar, nostalgic Halloween feels, and I'm living for it. The next scare zone we have is Scarecrow Cursed Soil. At an abandoned farm, scarecrows have risen from the crust of the earth to hunt you and seek revenge. They'll harvest your screams. This looks like it's gonna be located in Central Park. This scare zone area is really famous for having like the pumpkins and the lights in the trees. Now, obviously it looks like they won't have that since those have been moved to the front of the park, but from pictures and videos that I've seen other people take in the parks currently, they have lanterns hanging. So we might be entering some like barn and the scarecrows are coming at you. Now obviously this is taken from the Scarecrow haunted house that was super popular back in 2017. Unpopular opinion time, I didn't like that house. I know people lose their minds over this house. It just didn't do it for me. Maybe I didn't have the right run through. I went through it twice, but both times it just didn't really, the scares didn't get me, and it was a very dark haunted house. I am a fan of when they have elaborate, cool sets and just creative things, and this was like, oh, it's dark, we got some corn, and then you're gonna go in this room where it's dark and you hear a bunch of crows and it like feels like they're pooping on you. Not for me, not for me. But I think as a scare zone in this Central Park area, it'll be really cool. The next haunted house is Sweet Revenge. The sweets from Major Sweets Candy Company has turned children into crazed killers. This Halloween's all trick, no treat, and total mayhem. So this one is set up in the New York area of the park, which, personal opinion, is my favorite scare zone area because when I do Stay and Scream, my favorite place to wait is Finnegan's. Now, Finnegan's isn't one of the big ones, I think, because strategically, if you're trying to like see a bunch of haunted houses all at once and you know, kind of beat the crowd, this may not be the best area for you to do it. But me personally, I like the idea of being in Finnegan's, drinking a mummy, going out into this big scare zone, riding the mummy, hitting houses. Like, it's just, this area of the park is a vibe for me. Halloween Horror Nights or not. So this one in the park has a lot set up in it already. So we see like, it looks like they have some kind of Halloween festival, and that's where like the mayhem broke out. You know, you have these really cute little like pumpkin dudes like hanging from the lights. They're really cute. But I think this is gonna be a really fun scare zone. The next scare zone is Graveyard Deadly Unrest. On All Hallows Eve, a dark storm descends upon a cemetery and awakens long dead spirits. No one living can escape them. So this scare zone is set up in our Hollywood section of the park. And this was one of the first props that we really saw pop up in the year. And it is beautiful. It looks old, damaged, not taken care of, and I'm wondering if this will have any connection to Graveyard Games, the haunted house that they had back in 2019, which is one of my favorite original houses of all time. But a lot of these tombs and cemetery props look very similar to what they had in Graveyard Games, which I know a lot of them, they reuse a lot of the props and things of that nature. So these particular tombs in the scare zone give me Oven Crypt vibes, like from New Orleans. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but Graveyard Games did take place in Ascension Parish in Louisiana. Are they connected? I really hope so. But overall, I think this scare zone is just gonna have those good old-fashioned spooky ghost vibes, and I'm loving it. The next and final scare zone that we have is Conjure the Dark. On the first All Hallows Eve, an evil sorceress called forth monstrosities from a dark dimension. Now your blood will fuel them. Loving this, because as I've said, I love a good witchy theme. So this is in the San Francisco area of the park, which we've seen, not only have we seen the props from the stage of this, which looks gorgeously detailed and wonderful, but they also look like they're gonna have some drink booths over by Lombard's that are gonna like follow this witchy with the runes theme, which I'm very excited to see. So with the scare zones, it's really hard to pick one that I'm most excited about because I'm pretty much excited about all of them. And to wrap up this announcement, we have 2 live shows. Now, these are the same shows in a sense that we had last year, but they will have their own little twist and vibe to them this year. First up, we have Halloween Nightmare Fuel Wildfire. So if you went or saw videos from Halloween Horror Nights last year, they had a new dance show, Halloween Nightmare Fuel, that replaced the former Academy of Villains. R.I.P. But this was a really, really cool show that took place in the old Fear Factor Stadium. It involved a lot of aerials and pyrotechnics, which was awesome. It was hot as hell, and I'm like sweating just thinking about it, but it was really, really cool, and it seems like it's gonna be a similar show, but of course with a new nightmare. Not Freddy. Not to be confused with Freddy's New Nightmare. Don't get confused. And our next live show is Ghoulish, a Halloween Tale. On a Halloween night, a ghost story becomes reality. So this is of course our Lagoon show, which is always a good time. This is a beautiful, beautiful show and a great way to kind of like wind down and just kind of relax. My favorite thing to do is go get some pizza fries, go get a drink, come back to the Lagoon, sit down, watch the beautiful projections and all the little water shooting up and everything. They usually stick to the themes of the haunted houses or the scare zones. So whichever monsters or villains that you see featured in the houses and the scare zones will usually be featured in this show with lights and water and just a lot of really cool effects. Let me know in the comments down below which of these houses, scare zones, or shows you're most excited to see. So that's it. That was a mouthful. Are y'all sick of hearing me talk yet? I am just so glad that we finally got an announcement with 17 days left to go. So excited for this. Cannot wait. And if you've never been to Halloween Horror Nights before and this is your first time, or maybe you're just kind of like thinking about going, I'll put some links in the description box so you can check out their website, maybe some past videos that I've done. I'll actually put that right here, past years that we've gone, so you can check out firsthand what this event is really like. So we'll be at the park the second week that the event is open, which is September 9th and 10th. But if you guys are gonna be there at the same time, definitely come say hi if you see us, and you'll get a little Nerd Squish sticker. That's right, my face is on a sticker. So I will have these at the park and I'll be handing them out. Don't be afraid to come say hi and get a sticker. So if you guys want to see more Halloween Horror Nights content, maybe a most anticipated list, or if you want to see our vlog for when we go to the event and we get that RIP tour, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so when we put up new videos, you'll be notified. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you nerds in the fog.